Hello.
We've been trying to reach you concerning your car's
Hello,
extended warranty.
Hello.
You should have
Calling
received
from the underwriting department authorized only valid for credit card business days.
Recording.
Okay. What are you going to ask? So my dad, he has dementia and he's elderly, so it makes him vulnerable on two different sort of levels. He also lives alone, so he's got no one kind of looking out for him. So he's been scammed at the door, where some men just turned up and persuaded him he needed work doing on the roof. And they put the ladder up on the roof and they fiddled around with drawing rude pictures in the cement. Then told him that he needed to pay £1,000. When he didn't have that money available, they literally put him in their van and they drove him to Banstead to the bank. He got a certain amount of money out of the cash point, but the bank wouldn't give him any more. I think he managed to give them £600 in total. They brought him home, but they wanted £1,000, as I said. So they told him they would come back tomorrow for the rest. Now, I can't tell you how that makes the family feel and how he must have felt. He can't vocalise that. He thankfully doesn't remember it. But for us, as a family, you go through all these emotions of how you feel angry, you disbelief, terror. You know, waking up in the middle of the night, are they going to knock on the door in the middle of the night on him? He was then also scammed on phone. So somebody pretending to be BT phoned up. They managed to get into his bank account, his emails. They managed to move £4,000 out of his bank account. Thankfully, because of all the toing and froing, there were alarm bells ringing at the bank. And they wouldn't speak to me on the day that it happened. They wouldn't speak to anyone. The following day, when I rang back to the bank, I then got put through to the fraud team and we then worked out what had happened. The bank had taken the money from his account, but they actually hadn't sent it on to the final account's resting place. It had gone into a transfer system, so he did get his money back. We started doing things that would, in our mind, help him keep safe. So we used a Ring doorbell so that anyone who comes to the house is videoed. That is a deterrent in itself, because you're on camera, you've got video evidence. So that kind of helps. We organise gardeners, so his front garden looks nice and tidy, the house is kept neat and tidy, so he doesn't say I'm vulnerable. When you go down the street and you see a house that's got all the trees are overgrown and the grass is really long, you immediately think somebody there isn't able to look after themselves, and that kind of makes a bit of a sign. So that's another thing that you can do to help your family. You can put in things like, there's a program and a piece of kit that you can get from Surrey Trading Standards called TrueCall, which stops any scam phone calls coming through. The only calls that can get through are people who are dialed into the computer system. Anybody else who tries to ring him gets diverted to my mobile phone. So, a family member can ring, and if they're not on the system, they just come through to my mobile phone. But all those scammers have literally just disappeared. There are ways that you can protect yourself, but in other ways, sometimes there's really nothing you can do. Sometimes you are just a victim of these fraudsters, and whatever you could have put in place doesn't really help.
We've been
Hello.
trying to
Hello.
reach you
This is
concerning
the
your
company only
Sorry, I'm not interested.
Sorry, I'm not interested.
Thank you.